From the beautiful city of Los Angeles, California, we bring you the Gimme 3 podcast. Hello and welcome, cinephiles, cinema lovers, and movie appreciators to the Gimme 3 podcast, the podcast where we select 3 films connected by one theme. I'm Nicholas Iwata, and I am joined by my esteemed co-host, Bella F. Stratus today. What's good, Bella? We're back.
We're back. We're so back. I'm good. I'm excited to be back here on the podcast with you, diving into some movies. Feels like it's been a while.
How was your trip back home? You had a nice little trip back to old Utah, the motherland.
Yeah. Oh, it was lovely. Yeah, I had to go back. It's my favorite time of year. I love fall. And it's been really terribly hot here in LA. And I was like, you know what? I need to go back and see the fall colors up in the mountains. And got to see all my old girlfriends, my high school buddies. So that was a lot of fun. It was like a nice little reunion.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah, LA doesn't really have fall. We have summer, and then we go into summer light. And then we go into summer light with special guest appearance by winter.
Yeah, so true.
It's not even a true winter, but
that's fine. I don't need the winter.
No,
I mean, that one I'm good on. Yeah.
It's beautiful.
But I love layers and sweaters, and I've just been wearing them still in like 85 degrees. I'm just like forcing it. This will be fall. It's not working.
Yeah. Well, friends, hopefully you joined us last week for our special episode honoring the life, the career of the late, great Robert Redford. Robert Redford and politically charged dramas was the theme. We felt that was an apt theme for the times, when you have a figure as seminal as Mr. Robert Redford, one episode just will not cut it. 3 episodes won't cut it, frankly, but this will be our last Robert Redford episode for now, at least. Robert Redford and the American West is the theme for today. And not only are we going to be exploring the unique genre-bending takes on Western cinema that Robert Redford starred in, but we'll also be looking at Robert Redford as a director in this episode, something we did not do last week. So before we get into the films, since you weren't here with us last week, Bella, do you have any broad thoughts on Mr. Robert Redford?
Yeah. Oh my God. What an incredible person. And it's one of those things where when someone, like, as you mentioned, as seminal as him passes, you just almost dive into their whole history so much more. Everyone's popping up with anecdotes and stories about him and honoring his legacy and tribute to indie cinema, and it's so amazing. He's such a great guy, and then on top of it, I mean, diving into these performances and then getting to see his work behind the camera as well, just amazing. And what a hottie.
Yeah, I mean, one of the great all-time faces ever in the history of faces.
Yeah.
And friends, if these 2 episodes aren't enough Robert Redford for you, y'all can go back to episode 47, our Demi Moore Spotlight episode, where we discussed Indecent Proposal.
Yes.
A film where Robert Redford is over the hill, but still incredibly sexy.
Mm-hmm.
But today, it's all about the American West, Robert Redford and the American West. So saddle up, grab a brew, and chat some flicks with us. I will say also, you're so good about this, Bella, but I'm not, and got yelled at by one of my friends the other day. Before we get into the films, we will be going deep. We will be talking climaxes and endings, so this is your official spoiler alert for all 3 of these movies, the oldest of which, by the way, came out 32 years ago, so...
You can't be mad.
But of course, Robert Redford, the American West. What else are we going to start with here? We got to start with Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, The year is 1969. It's directed by George Roy Hill. It's written by William Goldman, who, if you listen to last week's episode, also penned the screenplay for All the President's Men. The film takes place in the turn of the century. In fact, I think it is 1899 exactly when we come into this picture. And this is one of my favorite openings ever. And I know I said that last week, and that's like how I opened the show last week, but I meant it last week, and I mean it this week. The film opens with half of the frame occupied by a screen, and then this like 16 millimeter film reel starts playing what looks like a very vintage, sepia-toned, silent film. And it gives us a little silent backstory about the Hole in the Wall gang. The Hole in the Wall gang does what most gangs do in those days. They rob. The leader of this gang is Butch Cassidy, who's played by Paul Newman. And Butch is clever. He's charming. He's pretty funny. And Butch's best bud is the Sundance Kid. And this is our man, Robert Redford. They call Sundance the dead shot. He's very quick on the draw. He's got incredible aim. You know, he's a legendary shooter. But he's also very reserved and introspective. Not quite as charming as Butch, but just as handsome. By the way, it'll come as no surprise that the real Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid were not half as good looking as these two blokes. Like, some ugly motherfuckers. Anyways, Butch and Sundance and the Hole in the Wall gang they made a name for themselves here in these old Western times. But the times, they are a-changin'. And things aren't as easy as they always were for this duo. There's a bit of a threat even coming from members of their own gang. Members of their own gang are trying to take over, you know?
Hi, News. What you doing?
Oh, howdy, Butch. Nothing. Howdy, Sundance.
Well, you sure are. You're doing something. What?
Just fixed and robbed Union Pacific Flyer, Butch. That's all we had in mind.
You fellas got everything I told you all wrong. Sure, we might hit the flyer. But even if we do, it won't be this run. It'll be the next one, the return. Now, Sundance and me, we've been checking the banks.
No banks.
What?
The flyer, Butch.
Fellas, bad as they are, banks are better than trains. They don't move. They stay put. You know the money's in there. When I left, I gave orders.
New orders been given.
Well, I run things here, Harvey.
Used to, you did. Me now. This don't concern you. You tell him to stay out.
Well, he goes his own way, like always. What's the matter with you guys? When I came here, you were nothing. You weren't even a gang. I formed you.
Who says?
Well, read 'em a clipping, News.
Which one?
Any of them.
This one here's from Salt Lake Herald. Butch Cassidy's Hole in the Wall gang struck.
Butch Cassidy's Hole in the Wall gang, that's me.
Idaho Bank of over close to $20,000.
You want Harvey to do your planning for you? You want him to do your thinking for you? You want him to run things?
With them on their
You can shut up now, News.
Oh, not yet till I get to the good part, Butch. Also known to have participated in the holdup are Flat-Nosed Curry and Noose Carver. I just loved reading my name in the paper, Butch.
There's pushback from banks and trains they're trying to rob. There's even common folk telling them, your time's over. It's over. Your time's through. You're gonna die bloody. And so Butch and Sundance are like, what the fuck is happening? I thought we were just robbing people. We're just having a good time, right? We're robbing. What the fuck is everybody's big deal? So Butch and Sundance are faced with reality when the owner of the Union Pacific Railroad, a railroad that they have robbed several times, has put together this super group of lawmen. It's like the audio slave of lawmen and bounty hunters and thieves, and their motive is to hunt down and kill Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. And this super group is trailing the duo everywhere, and it's almost as if it's like their past haunting them, because the supergroup is comprised of these people that, they've run into over their careers of robbing. So Butch, Sundance, and Sundance's girlfriend, Etta, who's played by Catherine Ross, they say, fuck it, we're leaving. We're going to Bolivia, away from the changing Western world. And in Bolivia, once they get used to the culture shock, guess what they start doing? They start robbing banks again. But even this starts to get hairy. And just when it seems that Butch and Sundance are about to go straight, their past catches up with them again. And even in their dying moments, the two lifelong friends are kind of in jest, but not really, discussing moving to Australia next, where the weather's great and there's miles and miles to hide out. They speak English in Australia. Yeah. But how about the banks? Sundance asks. They can't quit robbing. It's their purpose. And in this lore of the Old West, whether it's true or not, but the lore of the Old West is that robbing is the profession as common as, it's like horses, guns, cowboy hats. But this film is about that world coming to an end. This film was made at a time when that cinematic genre was past its prime. This film is about the changing of the guard, something that was happening both in 1899 and 1969. Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, one of the all-time greats. Bella, what'd you think?
I loved this movie. This was my first time watching this, which is kind of crazy.
Awesome.
It's been on my list for a really long time. I was excited to check it off for this. I loved its take on the Western. And, I actually always forget that I can totally get into like a good Western, like the horses, the scenery, the sounds of nature, and then all that scenic beauty contrasted with like so much violence.
Right.
It makes for quite the ride, quite the wild ride, especially when done right. And damn, this movie does it right. I mean, first of all, you've got two greats and very attractive men on the screen the entire time. And then I just loved the chemistry between Butch and Sundance, like the way they banter and bicker with each other. It's never a dull moment. But even when we're just watching them ride their horses across this like vast expanse of the desert mountains, and it's just the steady rhythm of the horse's hooves, like it's just completely mesmerizing all the way through, which is really powerful and really hard to do, I feel like. So I loved it. I thought it was fantastic and so funny too.
I've seen it, but I don't know. I've seen this movie a dozen times, and because what it's about is so meaningful and impactful, I always forget how funny it is. And rewatching it again, I was laughing through the whole film. It's like, even at the end, it's like it's still funny,
Yeah, like it's breaking your heart, but you're still laughing.
Yeah, I love the opening, as I mentioned, and even after that opening credit sequence with the 16 millimeter like silent film thing, the first scene that we come into is shot very cinematically and very some incredible camera work and angles and really inventive stuff that you don't see in a lot of Westerns, but cool stuff. But it's still got this sepia tone over it, which makes it feel like this is the late 1800s and early 1900s. It kind of just puts you in that world, puts you in that time and place before, going into the full Technicolor vision. Is really, really smart choice.
Totally agree. The world building, like the production design, the costumes, I mean, it feels so authentic. Mm-hmm. And the cinematography was amazing. I want to talk about the bicycle scene, which I'm sure is very iconic, at least to me. I fucking loved that scene so much. I love how long it is.
Yeah.
In this bicycle scene, it's Butch picks up Etta after a night with Sundance, and he's got this bicycle that this guy was selling in town. He's like trying to pitch it to everyone. He's like, horses are done, the bicycle's in. And and they just go off on this amazing whimsical bike ride through trees, and just, oh God, the scenery is so spectacular. It's just like this amazing song. It's Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head, right? I think that's when that song is played.
Raindrops keep falling on my head.
I had no idea that was an original song for this movie.
Yep.
That's so amazing.
Doesn't mean my eyes will soon be turning red.
So good. It's so good. It just puts a smile on your face. And yeah, it's just this great long sequence of them shredding it on this bike, and Butch is like riding it backwards, and like he's doing all these tricks, and Edda's just watching him laughing, and you can see them like talking, but you don't totally know what they're saying.
Yeah.
It's just so good. And there's this great shot where the camera's like tracking them through from behind a fence. So you kind of just get glimpses of them riding. It reminded me of like a zoetrope kind of effect.
Right. Yeah.
And that, I just loved that so much.
Yeah, it kind of teases you. It's like, all right, well, here's this new modern technology, the bicycle.
Yeah.
It's like, here's what potentially your lives could be like if you decide to, quit the robbing business and go straight. If you guys just enjoy what's around you instead of always going after what the next loot.
Yeah. And then, looking back on it, it's emotional.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was their one moment.
Crying's not for me, 'cause I'm never gonna stop the raindrop from falling.
Oh, it's so good.
This film does have that's one of them, but it has some of the all-time great montages.
Oh yeah.
There's one where they're on the way to Bolivia and they stop in New York City, and George Roy Hill uses this brilliant technique. Okay, so there was this old-timey New York City set on the Fox lot that they built for Hello, Dolly. And this is where they shot some of that stuff. And, it worked for this movie. So like, okay, great. We just shoot it here. But Fox did not want them to release like all of these scenes that they had shot or scenes they were going to shoot, because Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid was going to come out before Hello, Dolly. And these sets were built specifically for Hello, Dolly. So they're like, no, we want to save the reveal of these sets for the release of that film, which, the long list of people who love and remember that film is exactly one. It's our friend Max Sopkin. But so George Roy Hill, he opted to use the set in a subtle way. He started, he was going to take single frames of his cast in this immersive world, and brought in once again that turn of the century look, that sepia tone, and it's just still frames, and it looks like so authentic and so real. It looks like you're looking at real photographs from the era. It's like something straight out of a Ken Burns documentary. They do these like zooms in. Now it's called the Ken Burns effect, but these zooms in on the photos and these pans across it. It's a really unique way of doing a montage. They tell a story in this sequence. They tell you stuff about the characters in this sequence, because there's shots of like Sundance dancing with Edda, and you see, Butch's, off to the side. You see his reaction to them dancing. Sometimes he's happy. Sometimes he's drunk. Sometimes he looks a little envious. There's just a lot of excellent work done in these still images. And then, of course, the montage of them robbing banks in Bolivia with Burt Bacharach's score of all these like harmonizing voices, just jazzing it up. Man, I like that. I like that piece of music there. That's the piece of music that always gets me going. It's so weird. Like, it's so like it's seemingly so out of place in a Western, but I don't know, for some reason it just really works for me.
No, I agree. I was really surprised by the music in the film. Like, it feels so like you said, it feels so unexpected, but it works seamlessly.
Yeah.
And yeah, I loved the amount of like silent storytelling. I thought that was brilliant.
George Roy Hill talked about like a lot of the scenes where, either they're robbing banks or they're in Bolivia, or the bicycle scene like you were talking about. there was not that much dialogue in the script for Catherine
Ross?
Catherine Ross. But she was like so great that they're like, okay, well, let's just like they would let the actors improvise on those scenes to get these kind of like real genuine moments and stuff. And, you know, they ended up using them in the film in these montage sequences. And in those montage sequences, like they feel so natural.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you can sense that for sure. Oh my God. I love that one bank robbery that's just way too easy, where they dress up as like really fancy rich people.
Oh, yeah.
And the bank owner's like, please come see where we keep all of our money. Here it is. And they're just like, okay, thank you. Right. And it's all like no dialogue. Like you can't hear anything. And you're just watching this guy get fooled, and it's so funny.
Totally fleeced. They lock him in his own vault, and it's like, oh, this poor bastard.
And he just takes it. Like the second he sees the gun pulled on him, he's just like, I walked right into that one.
I do have here 3 pieces of trivia.
Ooh, let's go.
For Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
I want to play a game. I want to play a game.
Piece of trivia number 1. Lula Parker Bettinson. You know who she is?
I do not.
She is the real life sister of Butch Cassidy.
Oh, wow.
Often visited the set. And her presence was very welcome with the cast and crew. And in between setups and stuff, she would tell stories about her brother's escapades. And she was amazed at how accurately the script and Paul Newman portrayed him.
Wow.
And before the film was released, the studio found out about her visits to the set, and they tried to convince her to like endorse the movie in a series of ads that'd be shown across the theaters and countries, because back in the day, they used to, the trailers and the previews for films used to actually do creative things and have, you know, people talking to the screen and be like, hey, if you like this and that, come see this. Here's this guy talking about it. You know, they don't do that anymore. So she said she would do it, but only if she saw the film first, because she wanted to, like, you know, she's like, if I'm going to endorse the movie, I want to be able to actually endorse it, you know?
Right.
And the studio said, no, you're not doing that. They did not allow her to see the film before its release because they thought that was like going to set a precedent and would harm the studio's reputation. But guess who came to the rescue? Old Robert Redford. The GOAT. Yeah, he suggested, hey, you do these endorsements and I'll just get the studio to pay you some money. she's like, deal.
Done.
That is her brother's sister.
That's awesome.
Right. Piece of trivia number 2. Talking about Catherine Ross, talking about the great scene that you love here, Bella. So on the first day of shooting, they had to shoot this train robbery.
Oh, yeah. Great scene.
Great scene. They had to, most of the time, you don't want to start with such like a banger scene like that because you want to kind of warm up to stuff, you know, but they had to shoot it because the weather was going to turn and it was going to become all snowy where they were shooting this scene. So anyways, Catherine Ross came to set, even though she's not in the scene. And I think at the time she was dating cinematographer Conrad Hall. There were 5 cameras and only 4 operators. So cinematographer Conrad Hall put Catherine Ross on the extra camera. He showed her how to operate it and how to move it to get her shot. And director George Roy Hill was just absolutely furious. He didn't say anything during the day, but at the end of the day, he banned her from set except for when she was working. So they kind of had a tiff. Oh, Catherine Ross and Conrad, and no, not Conrad Hall, and George Roy Hill, the director. So interviewed after the production ended, Catherine Ross said shooting the silent bicycle riding sequence was her favorite. She loved it because it was handled by the film crew's second unit rather than the director.
Oh, wow.
As she said, any day away from George Roy Hill was a good one.
That is hilarious.
Yeah. All right. And then finally, piece of trivia number 3. This one's not really interesting, but it's more impressive. With 9 wins, it currently holds the record for British Academy Awards, the BAFTAs. It won Best Picture. Robert Redford won Best Actor. Catherine Ross won Best Actress. George Roy Hill, Best Director, Screenplay, Cinematography, Film Editing, Sound, and Score. It won every award that it could, as its 10th nomination was also for Best Actors, a dual nomination for Redford and Newman. So there you go.
Wow. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Well deserving.
Yeah.
I love this movie. Yeah, this is like, this could be a total comfort movie.
Absolutely.
Even though it's kind of heartbreaking at the end.
And then, of course, is the namesake for the biggest film festival in America, the Sundance Film Festival. Which, once you see the movie, you realize, okay, that's what Sundance Film Festival means. It's about the changing of a guard. It's about change.
I can see why it's a classic. And Robert Redford's really hot in it. And so is Paul Newman.
Oh,
my
yeah.
goodness.
Yeah.
I didn't even really touch on that, but both absolute charmers.
Yeah.
Well, the way I figure it, we can either fight or give. If we give, we go to jail.
I've been there already.
If we fight, we stay right where they are and starve us out. Or go for position, shoot us. Might even get a rock slide started and get us that way. What else can I do?
They could surrender to us, but I wouldn't count on that. They're going for position, all right. Better get ready.
Kid, the next time I say let's go someplace like Bolivia, let's go someplace like Bolivia.
Next time. Ready?
No, we'll jump.
Like hell we will.
No, it'll be okay. If the water's deep enough, we don't get squished to death. They'll never follow us.
How do you know?
Would you make a jump like that and you didn't have to?
I have to, and I'm not gonna.
Well, we got to, otherwise we're dead. They're just gonna have to go back down the same way they come. Come on.
Just one clear shot, that's all I want.
Come on. We got to.
Nope. Get away from me.
Why?
I want to fight them.
They'll kill us.
Maybe.
You want to die?
Do you?
All right. I'll jump first.
Nope.
Then you jump first.
No, I said.
What's the matter with you?
I can't swim.
Why, are you crazy? The fall will probably kill you.
Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. It is available to stream on demand, but if you don't want to be on demand, if you don't want to give money to the likes of Google and Apple and Amazon, why don't you go visit your local video stores? If you live in the Los Angeles area, Vidiots, Cinephile Video, Videotech, those are all great options. But check it out because it is one of the all-time greats if you haven't seen it. And if you have seen it, it's absolutely worth a rewatch because it never gets old.
Yeah. Up next, we've got Jeremiah Johnson.
Jeremiah Johnson.
I've been singing that all week, and Jonathan's ready to kill me. He's like, that is banned in this household. It's the only part I know. The 1972 Western drama, directed by Sidney Pollack and written by John Milius and Edward Anhalt. Redford stars as, you guessed it, Jeremiah Johnson, a man who happily trades civilization for the snowy peaks of the Rockies, determined to live and maybe even die on his own terms. But it turns out the mountain man life, and especially surviving the winter wilderness, takes a whole lot more than just grit. Fortunately, before things get too dire, Johnson crosses paths with a wise, old, but equally crazy grizzly bear trapper, aptly named Bear Claw, who becomes sort of his mountain mentor teaching him how to live off the land, read the moods of the mountain, and navigate the complex relationships with the native tribes who call it home. Without this kind of knowledge, Johnson wouldn't have stood a chance. By summer, he's learned enough to strike out on his own, determined to live as a true mountain man, but his isolated existence doesn't last long. Along the way, he takes in a young boy named Caleb, whose family was murdered by Blackfoot warriors, and through a strange series of encounters, including a buried alive mountain man and some gift-giving customs of the Flathead tribe, he ends up with a wife named Swan. Without blinking twice, Johnson goes from mountain man to family man. The trio find a beautiful piece of land, they build a cabin together, and they grow to truly love each other. For a while, it's peaceful. They care for each other and settle into the rhythm of the mountain. Maybe this life of family and quiet comfort was what Jeremiah Johnson had been looking for all along. But of course, the mountain always takes back what it gives. When Johnson reluctantly assists a U.S. cavalry rescue mission that crosses through a Crow burial site against his advice, he returns home to find Swan and Caleb murdered. The life and people he once loved so deeply are gone forever. Devastated and lost, Johnson goes full John Wick, setting out on a path of revenge, hunting down every single Crow warrior responsible, until his deadly legend grows so large that even his enemies start to honor him. By the end, Jeremiah Johnson's not just a man, but a myth. And some folks say he's up there still. Nick, what did you think of Jeremiah Johnson? Had you seen this? Had you seen this joint before?
I had seen this joint before. I saw it at the New Beverly, actually. I looked up
nice.
my what do you call, letterboxed log history or something, and I watched this the month before COVID started, an IB Tech print in February of 2020 at the New Beverly Cinema.
Oh, wow.
And I haven't seen it since. So fun to revisit. I think I actually liked it. It was in a rare instance. I think I actually liked it more this time, even watching it at home, than I did my theater experience. But I think that might be because it's such a different kind of Western film. It doesn't follow the usual structure. It doesn't follow the usual character archetypes. It's just much more nuanced and I don't know, allegorical than your standard Western. And I think the first time I watched it, that was just kind of like washing over me, I was more just being like, what's gonna happen next, or what's this? What is this movie about? You know?
Yeah, I can see that.
But this time, knowing it and knowing what I was getting into, I was like, oh, okay, I'm able to appreciate it more, I think.
That's interesting. I could totally see how a rewatch would maybe be more valuable than a first time watch in a way. Like, this might need one.
Yeah.
Because, I totally agree. It is kind of just like you're just going with it. And then it feels like the main, like, it kind of feels like everything happens in the final bits of the film.
Right.
But I actually enjoyed it. Well, it was funny. I can also see how watching it at home was nice on the comfort of your couch with the 4-minute overture and an intermission. I was not expecting that.
Well, that's the thing, was like, you know, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid were kind of meant to act as this, like, you know, the nail in the coffin of the old Hollywood Westerns, you know, these giant epics. But don't tell that to Sidney Pollack, because, I mean, the cool thing about this movie is it blends old Hollywood Westerns and injects this new Hollywood ethos and mindset into it. But you have the grand overture and the intermission. Even though the film is under 2 hours, it didn't really need an overture or an intermission. No. But I think that was Pollack's way of, like, tipping his hat to this very American genre.
Yeah, I think so too. It really doesn't need it. Pretty funny. But I actually really enjoyed this. I think a big part of it is also just the scenery.
Yeah.
It's so amazing.
Gorgeous.
And special place in my heart. I think most of it was shot in Utah
Mm-hmm.
in like all 5 national parks.
Yep.
So it's pretty incredible to watch. And I love that you get to see all the different seasons as well.
Yeah.
You know, talking about how much I love fall and not so much winter, but I actually love the snowy moments of this because they're also some of the most intense because it's, you know, you gotta survive the winter out there on the
Right.
mountain. It's brutal. And I love that we start there of like this guy's decided to live this new mountain man life, and he's immediately met with just how difficult that really is going to be.
He decides
And
to
then
start
we
in
get
the winter. Dumbass.
yeah, no, seriously. He's like so naive.
Yeah.
And I loved Bear Claw. I feel like, you know, we start with him, we end with him, comes back in the end. And he's just like batshit crazy. That like one of the introductions to this character for our listeners, he's he's like, "What are you doing up there?" And Bear Claw's like, "Hunting Grizz." And I just love the way he calls the bears Grizz.
Yeah.
I ain't seen a live man in 2 months.
I am Bear Claw Chris Lapp, blood kin to the grizzly that bit Jim Bridger's ass. You are molesting my hunt.
And I am
I know who you are. You're the same dumb pilgrim I've been hearing for 20 days and smelling for 3. How come you ain't been scalped? Ain't been too lucky, huh?
No.
This place has been trapped out since 25.
What are you doing here then?
I hunt grizz.
Grizz?
Grizzly bears, Pilgrim. I collect the claws. I had one in that thicket back there, ready to shake hands until you come along.
I'm sorry then.
That you look. Hungry too, huh? Come on.
And then we see that one of his methods is just like luring this giant bear into his house where Robert Redford or Jeremiah Johnson is. And you just hear this whole like kerfuffle inside. It's such a ridiculous like Looney Tunes moment.
Yeah.
To start off the film. But yeah, so much of this is just unexpected.
Right. Yeah, one of my favorite lines is the end of the film when Bear Claw comes back and Jeremiah sees him and he's like, "What brings you this far up north?" Grizz.
Grizz. Oh, it's so funny. Never gets old. Hell of a performance, too.
Hell of a performance.
Yeah.
The film, I think, approaches the white Americans' relationship with Native Americans in a really nuanced and respectable way.
Yeah, I was really surprised by that.
Mm-hmm. You know, I think like it acknowledges that he's coming into their world, which almost no Westerns, especially in like, you know, the golden era of the Westerns did. It acknowledges that he's like a novice in this world and there's tension there, and I mean, the tension morphs into like true and sometimes brutal conflict, but then that morphs into kind of this profound bond. You know, this like understanding, this respect, and the final 2 shots of the film are of a Native American who I think is the same Native American that we met first when Jeremiah Johnson was just like trying to catch a fish in the river.
Yeah.
And they see each other, and the Native American like nods and like holds out his hand. And Jeremiah like holds out his hand back like from a distance. They're essentially like waving to each other like neighbors.
Yeah.
And it like freeze frames. And it's just like, okay, like we can exist here, or these characters, you know, can exist here together as long as they like are respecting each other and understanding, respecting their cultures, respecting their beliefs. And you see it work in the film. You also see it not work in the film, but I think you kind of you need to see it not work in order to get that that moment at the end.
I totally agree. Yeah, I was really surprised by that, but then also like Robert Redford he was a good guy, and I feel like he wouldn't like say yes to a movie that had negative representation
Totally
of Indigenous people. So I guess in that way I wasn't totally surprised, but just considering the era, the genre, and especially the genre, like you said, it's just not very common to see that kind of portrayal or representation.
Right. Yeah. I love the sequence where Jeremiah and the boy and Swan, his wife, and I love Swan. What a doll.
Yeah.
When they're building the house, it's such a cool sequence. You just watch them like building that log house, that log cabin. And it's like, man, I was playing with Lincoln logs as a kid, but watching this is like watching Lincoln logs in real life. Is awesome.
God, I'm so glad you brought that up, because that is like a dream of mine ever since I've been a kid. I want to build a log cabin so badly. It's actually ridiculous. Lincoln logs, oh my God, loved them. And actually, when I was little, I did try to build one with these like twigs. And and then watching this, I was like, oh man, he knows what he's doing.
He knows what he's doing. Well, now you watch Jeremiah Johnson, you can try it again, Bella.
Yeah, I can. It's basically a how-to.
Right.
It's a tutorial. Oh, that scene is so great.
Go get yourself an Indigenous wife and a little mute white boy.
And a found little boy.
and you're halfway home.
That's so true. No, I loved the kind of found family aspect of this too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very sweet.
It's very sweet. It was so touching, and that's why the ending is so devastating as well, because he finds, it's so brutal because he finds Caleb in the same way.
Yeah.
Like his whole family has been murdered basically, except for his mom, who's just like broken.
Yeah. And what a dick. Jeremiah's like, woman, we got graves to dig. It's like, God damn. Her whole family's just been slaughtered, bro. Take it easy.
Yeah. No, that was, I was not expecting that. Like that scene comes out of nowhere and you're just like, oh my God, this is so horrific. And then, he's just getting to work, moving on. Oh, what a guy. But and so, you have that kind of foreshadowing already of like, this could come back.
Mm-hmm.
But it was still, Swan and Caleb's murder was still so shocking. Like, you're just like, no, please. When he's running back to the cabin, because I think I actually didn't catch this at first, but when he's coming back from rescue or helping the cavalry rescue the settlers, he's like coming back through the same route to pass the burial site. And he sees Swan's jewelry or like necklaces hanging on the site. And that's how he's like, oh shit.
Gotcha.
They got him.
Yeah, I don't even think I clocked that. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't notice that. But that scene of him just racing back to the cabin is gut-wrenching.
Yeah. Bella, I think it's time that we reintroduce a segment that we haven't visited in a long time. And the segment's called Give Me 3 Dubs.
Oh, nice. Yes.
For our audience who doesn't know, could you remind them what a dub is?
A dub is, oh my God, wait, I kind of forgot. Is this the one where we do?
See, this is how long it's been.
I was like, wait, I remember loving this one.
Give me 3 dubs. A dub is a W. And Give Me 3 Dubs stands for Watch with Weed.
Oh, yes.
So this is the very high, nonsensical, meandering scribblings that I wrote down while higher than giraffe pussy and watching Jeremiah Johnson. Give me 3 dubs.
Welcome to the Weed Zone. Population 420.
What a film to watch with weed.
Yeah. Okay, number 1, we kind of touched on it. And like in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, they inject kind of like this modern music into an old-timey Western. They do it here again in Jeremiah Johnson, as we touched on,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It plays in the beginning, this title track. And then it comes across sometime in the middle of the film also. He's like,
Yeah.
Jeremiah Johnson made his way the mountains. Snow was white, engines was brown. You know, like I don't know the exact words, but it's
It was a
very
hit.
folky, you know, it's very Bob Dylan-esque.
Yeah. Yeah.
Away from the film, I enjoy this song because I listened to it before writing this. It's performed by Tim McIntyre, who's a great character actor, actually. But at the time that this song comes back into the film, after, you know, skinning Grizz and making fires and all these intense interpersonal relationships with the Native Americans, I wrote here, Jesus fucking Christ. Okay, I don't care what the fucking hippies have to say on this subject, okay? Like, it was so out of place. It's like, I'm trying to watch this man survive. And he's like, Jeremiah Jones. It's like, get out of here, you hippies.
No, it's too much. It felt like a Family Guy scene.
Yeah.
Like, wait, what?
Bunch of goddamn fucking hippies. What the fuck?
All right, piece of trivia number 2. Oh, no, this is not piece of trivia. This is, see, I'm high right now. This is, give me 3 dubs. Second note. God, who knows where I was at this point. Okay, it says Jeremiah is hunting Crow tribe after they killed his wife, Swan. He tears them a new asshole. So I wrote here, natives' faces are painted white. Is Pollock trying to insinuate that by killing natives, Johnson is killing himself, his own tribe? Or is he trying to highlight that this is a new America and that these natives have now adopted the evil, sinister approaches of the white man? Or were they just trying to camouflage themselves in the snow? Probably the latter. Probably the latter. But when you watch with weed, who knows?
The ...
Yeah.
Or oh, that's great.
Okay, and then give me 3 dubs. Number 3 here. Technically, there is no number 3 because, again, we touched on it. You got an overture. You got an intermission. I appreciated this intermission quite fondly because it allowed me time to make my world famous ramen recipe. Which,
nice.
If you want to hear about that, you could check out episode 64, Bong Hits, Bong Joon-ho films, where I actually give out for free my famed ramen recipe, 4 potheads only.
So generous.
So I just know that during that, you know, intense third act, I was chowing down on some.
You're eating good.
I was eating good in the neighborhood. The only thing it was missing was some Grizz in there.
Grizz. So good. Man, that guy has the best quotes throughout the film. Sorry. Another one really quickly that I loved was him talking about how he used to have a woman named Cheyenne, meanest bitch that ever balled for beads. I had to write that down because I was like, what the fuck does that mean? Meanest bitch that ever balled for beads. Oh, but that's so great. What a fun film to watch with weed, you know?
Yeah. At times very scary. It was like, oh my God.
I was going to say, there's some pretty intense moments of this film. I have one final thought.
Yes.
And that I have to say, and it was, I can't believe this movie is the origin of a pretty big internet meme of...
Oh, the GIF, right?
Yes.
Is it GIF or GIF?
I don't fucking know. Either one. I think I say GIF. I think I say GIF. GIF. Fuck, I have no idea. Either one. But yeah, it's like a push-in on Jeremiah Johnson fishing. And he gives a slight nod of approval. And it's such a strange part, in my opinion, as well. Like, you're just like, okay, this is a weird touch. This whole time, like, I've seen that GIF so many times on the internet, and this whole time I thought it was Zach Galifianakis. And I was so shocked to discover it was Jeremiah Johnson and Robert Redford. Like, what are the odds? So, yeah, I thought that was, if you guys were ever wondering what that was from and who that was, like me, now you know. Now you know.
Not Zach Galifianakis, whatever.
Not Zach Galifianakis.
Now, every time you see that GIF or you use that GIF, you'll hear Jeremiah Johnson.
Exactly.
All right. What's this movie called? Jeremiah Johnson. It is streaming on demand. Great theater film. Like I said, I saw it as an IB Technicolor print 5 years ago, and I do see it pop up frequently at repertory theaters. So
nice.
If you get a chance to see it on the big screen, I say it's worth it. All right, my friends, that is going to take us to a break. And during that break, you are going to hear from Gimme 3 producer, LADFF director, and my wife, Sonia Maru, for a segment that we call Sonia's Movie Minute. So stick around for that and much more right here on the Gimme 3 podcast.
Hello, I'm Sonia, and this is my Movie Minute. The movie of the minute, of the week, probably of the year, potentially of the decade, is Paul Thomas Anderson's One Battle After Another. On Tuesday, I had the joy of seeing it in VistaVision at the Vista Theater, and it was glorious. This movie is cinematic, and not in the way that people say The Avengers is cinematic. It's cinematic in the way that Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid and Once Upon a Time in the West are cinematic. And the sound and music are great and meant to be played loud. Every casting choice is perfect, something PTA has been known for since day one. I would follow Tiana Taylor and Regina Hall into the revolution any day. As always, Leo is undeniably a movie star, a brilliant actor, and a funny motherfucker. In a fun and horrifying turn of events, Sean Penn steals the show. My favorite scene involves Benicio del Toro running a Latino Harriet Tubman thing. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. I'm intentionally being vague in general for the sake of the 1 or 2 listeners of this podcast who haven't seen the movie yet. You're welcome. The film ends with a shot of Chase Infinity's Willa set to Tom Petty's American Girl, and I started crying. Crying mostly from hopefulness. She's an American girl who has gone through hell at the hands of white supremacy and male ego. But she is also the American girl who can create a world worth living in and worth fighting for.
It's the Gimme 3 podcast, everybody, and we are discussing Robert Redford for the second episode in a row. This week, it's Robert Redford and the American West. Before the break, we discussed Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid and Jeremiah Johnson. Now we are going to explore some directorial work for Mr. Redford.
Yes, this third film is not starring Robert Redford, but directed. And though he never appears on screen, he does lend his fantastic voice as the narrator of the film, which I think is a fun touch. You know, he's both directing and revealing the story to us as this kind of intimate guiding presence throughout the film. It's special.
Yeah.
While staying on theme with the American Western and in honoring Redford's range, you know, we wanted to highlight not only his incredible performances, but his artistry behind the camera in A River Runs Through It, his 1992 American Western period drama starring Brad Pitt and Craig Sheffer, which went on to receive 3 Oscar nominations, including Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Score, and taking home the award for Best Cinematography.
Gorgeous movie.
Oh my God, yeah, stunning. Based on Norman Maclean's semi-autobiographical novel, the film follows 2 brothers growing up in Missoula, Montana during the Great Depression and Prohibition era. Though raised under the same roof, Norman and Paul take diverging paths, but they're always brought back together by their shared love of fly fishing, instilled in them by their father. After years away at college, Norman returns home for the summer, reuniting with his family and reconnecting with his charming but reckless brother, now a local newspaper reporter. Norman soon discovers Paul's nights of drinking, gambling, and some run-ins with the police. And though he worries, Paul continues to brush it all off with that same magnetic charm, as if nothing could ever be wrong. No matter how many times Norman tries to pull him back, Paul keeps slipping away. One night, Norman joins him at a shady gambling club and realizes just how deep Paul's debts and his dangers have become. He tries to help, offering to bring Paul with him to Chicago, along with his new soon-to-be wife, Jessie Burns, who he has fallen in love with over the summer, local lady. But Paul refuses to leave Montana, insisting that this is where he belongs. Just before Norman leaves for Chicago, the police call him with devastating news. Paul has been beaten to death. In the aftermath, the McLean family struggles to understand how they could have helped someone who refuses to be saved. And years later, Reverend McLean delivers a sermon about that very truth. Sometimes all you can offer those you love is unconditional love, even when you may not understand them. This is a very old school kind of film, in my opinion. But I think it's charming and moving, and I think it still holds up.
Yeah.
Even though I watched this, I was telling Nick, I watched this back in high school, and I have no idea why. Like, I don't think it had anything to do. We didn't read the book. It's just, I guess maybe my English teacher was hungover or something. But who's to say? And at the time, it did not hit. I was just like, no. This, maybe it's because I was in school. But I enjoyed revisiting this, especially now knowing like more about Robert Redford and getting to see the way that he created this film and everything. I appreciated it. But Nick, what are your thoughts on A River Runs Through It?
Yeah, watching movies in high school is really tough goings because it's like, okay, they split it up. It's going to be over multiple classes. I remember watching All the President's Men, actually, funny enough, in high U.S. history class in high school, and I did not like it because it's like, one, also, high schoolers. Sorry for any high schoolers listening out there, they are idiots. That it's just so it's like everything's going over my head, and they're talking and talking and talking, and I'm just like, where are the boobies? So, anyways, this movie, this was the first time I'd seen this film. So,
oh really? Mm-hmm. Wow.
So I quite enjoyed it. Kind of like Jeremiah Johnson, you really get what the film is about in the final moments of the film, like as the curtains closing, it all kind of makes sense and all comes around. You're just like, oh man. And it does have quite the emotional impact during that final sermon. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Obviously, very beautiful film. The performances are great. Brad Pitt is just like, speaking of gorgeous guys to look at, I mean, wow.
Yeah, I felt bad for Craig Sheffer.
Poor guy. I mean, geez. But you get that there's that dynamic in the film also. It's just like, Paul is the charmer and everybody loves when Paul walks in a room and he's kind of just like, oh, here I am, chopped liver over here. But that dynamic plays out, I think, quite well. And then as we get later into the film and see, I don't even know. I can't even remember. Norman. Yeah. When Norman, things start going right for him finally. And he's like, okay, I've got this job that's going to be in Chicago and I'm in love with this woman. Mm-hmm. It's almost like Paul can't take it. It's like, I was the favorite and I'm the one everybody's proud of. So yeah, there's a lot of interesting and I think very true kind of like familial dynamics going on in this picture.
Brad Pitt's performance is amazing in this. You can sense so much of what he's going through and what he's feeling without words.
Right.
But then I also love, most of this is through Norman's experience or his perspective of his brother and his family. And I thought they did a really good job of portraying, you know, like growing up close and then moving away from family and kind of like growing apart, but then also coming back and capturing that feeling of like returning to your hometown and, you know, maybe feeling like you don't quite belong there anymore. Or
yeah.
like
See,
whether
did you relate to that, Bella, on your trip
did.
away?
I did. I was like, oh wow, this is, you know, either it's because like you've outgrown it if, you know, you come from a small town. Because I think he like went, I don't remember where he went for college, but I want to say it was like New York. Like it was a very different.
Dartmouth he went to, yeah. So
oh,
big,
yeah,
big
yeah.
school, yeah.
Very different vibe than Missoula, Montana at this time. But yeah, it's like whether you've outgrown it or it's just changed and everyone's moved on with their lives, like there is that feeling of, maybe I don't quite belong here anymore. And they never like explicitly say that, but you can feel it.
Right.
And then I also loved, there's a great quote when they're fly fishing where Norman says, in the time I was away, my brother had become an artist with the fly fishing. And that quote makes me feel emotional because I feel that with like my own siblings. Like coming back home, you realize how much they've grown up without you. And they've gathered all these new skills and they're their own people. And like, maybe this is just an eldest thing as well, but it's like both beautiful and a bit painful, like FOMO.
Yeah, right,
like,
right.
Oh, I wish I was there to see you get to this point. But
right.
So I thought that was really special as well. So many different dynamics that they explore that I think a lot of people can relate to in their own way.
What was fun for me watching this movie was, and now that he's gone, you can kind of appreciate Redford's relationship with the American West. And it's like a huge element of it. And we see it in this film and we see it in Jeremiah Johnson. It's just like one's connection with nature. And of course, you know, like famously he moved out to Utah. Like Redford was kind of like the tour guide for Jeremiah Johnson and like was like pseudo the location scout for that because he like knew those plains. But the connection with nature, the vistas and the filming locations of this film, this Montana based movie are just epic. It's just jaw dropping. And you get these, you know, fly fishing and these characters bonding while they're fly fishing and being out in the river and being the kind of the thing that keeps these brothers and their father straight and right. And like when they're doing this and being in nature together, it's all love and it's wonderful. And then when you go outside of that, you get these evils, you know, these evils that ultimately destroy Paul. These evils that fill Norman with these feelings of insecurity. Given the route that Redford took in his life, I can't help but think that like there's, you know, that is him injecting. That's the little bit of him that he's injecting into this film because we know he loved nature and he was an environmentalist. He fought, you know, to keep so many forests and rivers and lakes intact. Like he loved the beauty of this country. So that was my biggest takeaway was just like coming up with that realization as I was watching this and appreciating him for that.
God, it's so true. He really understood like the healing of nature. This movie is really sad.
Yeah, it is. I watched this with Sonia and like the film starts and Robert Redford starts with some opening narration and it's something about like my father said that once I wrote our story we'd really understand what our family was about. And then so he's like, I'm crying already. And I was like, oh jeez. way to spoil it for me even without spoiling it for me. It's like, all right. So it's not a comedy.
So it's not going to be great. Yeah. Not going to be a fun, good old time. Oh, yeah, no, it's a bit of a downer. But there are some like funny moments as well. Like I love that whole sequence where Norman is forced to go fly fishing with his girlfriend's shitty brother.
Yeah.
And And he's like, Paul, please, you got to come with me. And they just like, it's just an absolute mess. They lose him. He barely makes it. He's like, he shows up drunk and with this woman that he's been with all night, who's like the notoriously drunk hookup in town. Like everyone knows her. And then they fall asleep naked in the sun all day. And so he has to bring him home naked because he's like burnt to a crisp. It's just not a good look. Not a good first impression with the girlfriend's family, but I enjoyed that scene very much.
Yeah, it's funny. I do want to tell one story that's kind of related to this film, but not really related to this film. But it's speaks to what a cool guy Robert Redford was.
Love it. Let's hear it.
Ethan Hawke was on Jimmy Kimmel this last week or 2 weeks ago or something, promoting his new show. And he spent most of the time on the show talking about Robert Redford and how much he meant to him. And he was like, wow. so much is happening in the world. We're not even really getting a chance to like stop and appreciate like that this guy passed. And like, he was so important to me. So Ethan Hawke talks about how he auditioned for this movie. Actually, I assume for Paul, for Brad Pitt's character. So Ethan Hawke came in and he was already in Dead Poets Society. So he had done like some stuff. But this was like a big deal. He comes in and it's in Robert Redford's office, the audition. And he's talking about how he like sees the posters for all the movies that he loves. And he's like so nervous about this audition. Robert Redford like calls him by his name and like says, and he's just like freaking out. And before they're going to start the audition, Robert Redford says, okay, are you ready to begin? And Ethan Hawke says, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm starstruck right now and I'm freaking out a little bit, but if you could just give me like 60 seconds, I'll step outside, I'll come back in and I'll do the audition. It's going to be great. And Robert Redford goes, okay. He goes, okay, Carol, can you have Ethan come back tomorrow? And Ethan's like, oh no, not tomorrow. Now I'm going to be thinking about this all night. Like it's going to be absolute torture. So he has to come back the next day for the audition. He's of course freaking out all night, thinking he probably ruined his whole career. But he comes back in the next day and he does the audition and Robert Redford says, kid, you're very good and you're going to make it. And I'm not going to give you this part. You're too young for this part, but you're really good and keep doing what you're doing. And Ethan said, wow, that really meant a lot to him because as any actor who's listening to this knows, so often you go into audition and they tell you we're going to go a different way and you don't know why. Most artists in general think like if you get rejected from something or you don't get over a hump, the go-to feeling is I'm shit.
Yeah. Ugh, it's so hard not to.
Yeah. But he told them like he gave him a reason. It's like, you're too young.
Yeah. Respect.
Shortly after that, Ethan was in an off-Broadway play. He was like, it was like off Broadway, $10 a ticket. We're talking. And who comes in? Robert Redford came in to see Ethan Hawke's off-Broadway play and like came up after the play and complimented on him. And Ethan was like, man, it's just like,
wow.
Probably does not know how much of an impact that had on Ethan Hawke's, but it's clear that it did because he wanted to use most of the time that he had on national television he was supposed to be there to promote a show. He wanted to honor this person who meant a lot to him.
Damn, that is so sweet.
So we thank Robert Redford for the lessons, and we thank him for his work in the American West. We thank him for his work in political films like what we discussed last week. And we just thank him for all that he did for this nation and for this art form. So cheers, Robert Redford. We salute you. And maybe we'll revisit your work again next year.
Absolutely.
My friends, let us know what you think of Robert Redford. Let us know what you think of these films and the films that we discussed last week. You could do that in two different ways. You can go on Instagram and type in Gimme3 Podcast. That's GIMME, spell out 3 podcast. Gimme3 Podcast. You can slide into our DMs there. Follow us because we also throw up polls and pictures, behind the scenes photos from the films that we discuss. And Bella edits some excellent movies, some excellent trailers that we put up on our Instagram page as well. You can also let us know what you think of these films by texting us. Scroll down to our episode description and select the link that says send us a text message. Click that link. You'll be able to message us. It'll go directly into our inbox. And we may even read your messages right here on the air. If you want to support the show, there's 3 different ways. Give me 3 different ways to support the show. 1, you can automatically download our episodes. If you download our episodes, helps both of us out. You won't be needing that Wi-Fi when you're up in a plane or traveling on the road. Who needs Wi-Fi? You download our episodes. You can listen to us wherever you are, and it helps out our show. We also have a Patreon for a mere $5 a month, which is cheaper than a latte these days. $5 a month. Listen to our Patreon. We got some bonus episodes up on there. And we also, it just helps us keep the microphones on as well. And then, of course, if you have friends who are into cinephilia, I don't like when they say cinephilia. It sounds perverted.
Yeah, it does sound perverted.
If you have friends that are into films, movies, flicks even sound, whatever. If you got friends who like movies, tell them about the Gimme 3 podcast. Why don't you? Bella, do you want to let the lovely folk where they can find you on the social media?
Yes, you guys can find me on Instagram at Portrait of a Cinephile. Aw, damn. Now that sounds perverted.
No, cinephile, I think, is fine. But when they say, when it transforms into cinephilia.
Yeah, it's a little much.
Yeah, it sounds like you're like jerking off to celluloid or something. I don't know. Which I'm not saying I haven't, but I'm just saying we don't need to have a word for it.
We're not kink shaming. Yeah.
Right.
No. Well, you guys can find me on Instagram or on Letterboxd at BFStratus.
You can find me on Letterboxd, on Instagram, or on Blue Sky at Nicholas Ibarra. Ibarra is spelled with a Y. Thank you all for listening to the Gimme 3 podcast, and we will see you at the movies.